Afternoon shadows lengthening here in Shanghai. You can see the Chinese touring car Park Ferme down there, and in the pit lane as well, the World Touring Car Championship entries. Dusan Borkovic with a new body needed on the front of the car. The Serbian driver after contact with Rob Huff. But that was one of the few incidents with anything going on. Tom Chilton's car is back. There is an upright, there's a corner, the suspension arm, the damper and everything ready to go back on the car. And this is where the boys are having a long look and trying to figure out exactly what you're going to need, what bits need replacing, that nut and bolt, that washer, everything ready, because they're going to have to work hard on that. Let's hear now from Dusan Borkovic.
Well, one man who seems to have endless problems this year is poor, very tall Dusan Borkovic. Turns out, it seems like someone's camera has come off of their car and has actually got lodged underneath yours in your engine. Is that right?
Yeah, I never seen something like that. The Coronel was in front of me, and in the first or second lap, I heard some really strong and strange noise in the car, and I immediately started to have understeering. I didn't have the downforce on the front, and when I was starting to lose 2 seconds per lap, I was just behind the Coronel, and after we saw that the camera destroyed the whole splitter and goes into the engine, I don't know, the intercooler, and still filming. And
yeah, we could hear the noise as you came down the main straight here. Have you actually been able to speak to Tom to find out whether they can check their footage?
No, I just went to see Tom, and I think he was down there in the pit, so I didn't see him, but I think that his camera.
Dusan, I will go on a mission for you right now.
Thank you very much. This year I have so much problems, but I hope it will be better next year. Thank you.
Every single incident gets more and more bizarre. An intercooler wrecked by somebody else's onboard camera coming off. I mean, it's just... so we were thinking maybe there was still contact with Huff, because that looks like a different incident, but very bizarre. Let's hear from Tom Chilton.
One man we saw have a few problems in that race was Tom Chilton. Tom, your wheel fell off.
It did indeed. Just chatting to Tom because he was actually behind me and he saw the first few laps. Other than Valente outbraked himself on the gravel, which just made a tiny mark on my rear left. Nothing touched any tyres, and it's my rear right which randomly fell off. I was flying. I was doing very competitive lap times, slipstreaming Thiago and Loeb. To be fair, I had a couple of lunges on Loeb. I thought they were both holding me up. So I was in P4-5, really pushing, and yeah, the car broke down through no fault of my own, and we're going to have to look into why this happened, but I'm gutted because I was going to get so many points. Now,
your team have observed Park Ferme regulations, so they got to work on trying to fix it. What's the likelihood of you being out on the grid at the front where you should be?
Well, if you look at Macau, they put 4 new corners on it in about an hour and a half, so I think they can put a rear right on in 15 minutes, but I don't know. These cars are a lot harder to work on than last year because you have to get around all the carbon body panels, but I have faith in Raul, and yeah, joint effort, hopefully we can get it ready.
We'll be following the story here. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It might be completely...
Again, you know, random wheel drops off, and not just a wheel. I assumed it might have been a cross-threaded wheel nut or something when they went to the grid, but it wasn't. It was the entire suspension corner, and that's... Have you ever had that happen, or have you had to help them off?
No, yeah, always help them off, yeah. Never had one just disappear on me, not a whole corner anyway. It's very strange.
Very bizarre. So, again, and the deal there with Park Ferme, let's just explain this if you're new to the World Touring Car Championship. When cars come in after race 1, they are not allowed to be touched. There is a specific time, and that is indicated for the teams. They all know what it is. So you're not allowed to touch the car. You're allowed to look at it as much as you like, have everything ready, but then you have 15 minutes from when the whistle sounds to do whatever you need. As you can see there, brakes and pads, discs and pads going on to Kozlowski's car. You have to refuel the cars, obviously, for race 2, new tyres and everything else. But critically, you've got to get them down on their wheels and out of the pit lane and onto grid. You can continue working on the grid if you need to, but you've got to get them out, or you have to start from the pit lane. the other option is to take them out of Parc Fermé, start working earlier, but that then moves you automatically to the back of the grid. And Tom Chilton wants to start in third.
Yeah, and well, Shanghai is turning out to be rather dramatic, certainly for the Lada team. Victor, you had problems with all three cars. What happened?
Different things. Today it looked like that we are unlucky. For a good race, but in the during the overtaking of Barkovich had some small contact and he lost the wheel, pressure in the tire. Then other cars a small technical issue, but hopefully next race we will be more lucky. So we start with 3 cars.
And what happened with Thompson at the very start?
I have a problem with subframe, so now we repair everything, so can start.
And all 3 cars will be okay?
Yeah, okay.
Good, that's a good start for race 2 then.
Well, Victor is rarely a man without a smile on his face, is he? And the deal with James Thompson then, because he came in during the race, you're allowed to do whatever you, or before the race even started actually, but once the track was live, you're allowed to do whatever you like. So they can work all the way through the race. So they got half an hour there to sort of replace the corner, which is a little more than the Royal Motorsport guys have to fix Tom Chilton's car.
Yeah, they were able to work on it until the checker flag fell, which if it wasn't finished, they would have stopped and then restarted when the 15 minutes opens.
Well, this is the roller coaster of emotions of World Touring Cars. Winner chicken dinner last weekend, and here he is hoping that they can put a corner on the car so he can start on the grid. So what about starting these races? Well, it is a particularly tricky thing to get these cars away from the grid, and gets harder and harder. First thing you want to do is line up in your pit box, and then lots of wheel spin to leave a nice grippy bit of rubber, fresh rubber. Tyres like gripping to that, so when you come back to do the start for real after the formation lap, you try and line up directly on top of that, and then use the sequential gearbox, holding the neutral lever, setting the revs, and again setting all the electronics to the traction control position. Each car will have a specific system for launching the car, just like road cars do now, launch control. So the driver predominantly will just hold the throttle and let the electronics sort it out. If it's uphill or downhill, as a number of the starts are, you will really need the handbrake. And then sidestep the clutch and try and let it sort itself out. Well, it is a real art form. You're allowed to practice once when you leave the pit lane during free practice. There will be a designated area on the exit of the pit lane. And you can often see, if you look down, watch Rob Huff coming out here. If you see down on the left-hand side, lots of black marks, that'll be the practice start area. Let's get back down to the pit lane.
During the break, Gabriele Tarquini's car up on the high jacks. Just want to find out exactly what's been going on. Gabriele, a bit of a setup change for race 2? Gabriele, a bit of a setup change for race 2?
No, I had the suspension broken.
I was a bit busy getting strapped into the car. Just caught him at the wrong moment there.
That's interesting. That's not the first suspension breakage we've seen on the Castrol Hondas in the last 2 weeks. We didn't see major contact with anybody. There again, you saw Jose Maria Lopez just moving over to start to do a little practice start there. And James Nash, part of that might be to get a little heat cycle through the tyres as well.
Yeah, the clutches are quite fragile actually, and temperature is key in the clutch, so that he'll put some heat into it. They can only take so many starts. There's a lot of power going through those transmissions, so you don't want to do too many through a weekend. They'll have a designated number, maybe 6 starts that they can do, and they'll use them all up through the weekend.
Corner is going on to Tom Chilton's car, 7.5 minutes, and this is kind of organised chaos. Everybody working as fast as they can to get the car ready to leave the pits. Cars heading out to pit road and to the grid. Pit lane will close in 4 minutes or so. James Thompson back out with fresh suspension on his car. Seems to have been a lot of suspension collapses. Gabriele Tarquini talking about one on his. We'll catch up with the car designer Andrea Adamo, who's been a very busy beaver while the cars have been shipped around the world, getting updates built for the Hondas. Tom Chilton's car is slowly coming together. Tarquini's is down and ready to head out to the grid. So say if they can get it off the air jacks, and they have. And alongside at number 18, Thiago Monteiro also heads out. Honda having about as little luck as Dusan Volkovic at the moment. Two Castrol Honda factory cars not having the best of times, but both out and heading to the grid. And Tarquini will line up fourth, Monteiro fifth, with a phalanx of Citroëns behind them. Let's get down to the pits then and hear from the car's designer.
Just tried to grab a quick word with Gabriele whilst he was getting strapped in, so he wouldn't be able to tell me what his problem was. He had the car on the high jacks. What was he complaining of?
We changed the rear toe link due to a bending one that we found in the car after the contact just after the start. So basically he had to make all the race with a rear bent one.
And what are your hopes for this race too? Obviously Citroën looks so strong in race one, but you guys have the advantage being further up the grid.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. Thanks very much, Andrea.
There's a man for whom the phrase "heart on your sleeve" I think was made. He is never hard to read, and he knows that Citroën should have a speed advantage here, but James Nash, coming in with the big long straight, thought that Citroën would find it easier to just zoom by everybody than has been the case. Honda have definitely taken a step towards them in terms of pace, and Chevrolet too as well, I think. And Tom Chilton's car still coming together here.
Yeah, I think when we saw the Citroëns have that straight line speed advantage, it was in race 2, so I think if we're going to see it, it'll be this time now when they're coming through the field again, if they can make it through the field. Maybe they have a different map for race 2.
Yeah. Race 2 map. Well, I think it's more notable if you're behind a slower car, then it's more notable than if you're in front and pulling away, because you tend to be with your own team at the front of race 1. So we'll have to see exactly what they can manage. The other thing here is there is room to pass, but on the other hand, it is hard work on the tyres, and there's not going to be an awful lot of fresh tyres ready. Dusan Volkovic's car is coming back together, the Campos Racing team. Well, that's a new one for every one of them. I can't imagine any of them have ever been in a situation where they've had to change an intercooler because of somebody else's onboard camera. That'll be entertaining footage. Follow Tom Coronel on Twitter, and I'm sure that you will see Alvin has put whatever footage they get off the GoPro into the programme, because he does like a little bit of entertainment. Well, Dusan ready to go. The damage on the right front corner that we spotted originally was definitely not from the camera. That was from the contact with Huff. That's why Huffy picked up a puncture. So the Royale car of Tom Chilton still being worked on. His teammate Tom Coronel is on the grid in 11th place.
We've got about a minute to get this car on the floor, because it's going to take him 30 seconds to drive out the pits.
So they're trying to attach the flat floor, and they've got it in. They're trying to make sure that all the bolts are done up. Wheel is ready to go on. They've just got to get it drivable. If something needs adjusting, you can do it on the grid. You can see his engineer there with the headset and the watch, watching very closely. A minute to go. And you think, well, of all the bits and pieces that cause drama in the World Touring cars, 15-minute repair time, we often see a lot of drama. I can think of a number of really dramatic moments. Franz Engstler's first win in Oschersleben, where he had contact on the final lap of race 1 and was due to start race 2 on pole. Now, they've got the extenders underneath the air jacks. They've got to let the car down, take them out, put it up, take them out, and let the car down. Away he goes.
Come on,
Come
boys.
on, release him. 30 seconds. He is going to be really tight for time. Go, go, go. Move. Car's not running. 20 seconds, he's not going to make it out of pit lane. Tom Chilton will not be on the grid in 3rd position. The car is not running, and that is a heartbreaker. It fired up. No, that's it. Too late. Red light will be on at pit exit. He will not make it out. I'm afraid the applause is too early. The pit is closed. There's the red light. No doubt about it. And he'll be black flagged if he goes through it. So he knew the moment he was released, he had to go then. And the car just stopped in, James. And that's heartbreaking. There's nothing you can do in that situation.
Not a nice sight to see that red light at the end of the pit lane after all that hard work.
And Aldo Prio there, hands on hips. They did everything they could, and then some little glitch somewhere. It's like when you get a pop-out fuse that pops out, because whatever it was, they opened the back door, fiddled with something. They knew what the problem was almost immediately, but it's just that 10 or 15 seconds to get it sorted.
It looked like fuel related, the fuel tank's in the back, and there's some sort of solenoid there that they switch off maybe when they're pumping it out and back in.
Yeah, maybe so. And that's a real heartbreaker for Tom Chilton after winning last weekend, third on the grid. You've got to fancy here your chances of maybe making it into the podium. In the red suit in the foreground, you can see our safety car driver, Bruno Correa, just getting ready to head back to the Alpha 4C.
So who has a clear grid slot in front of them now then?
Thiago Monteiro and Gabriele Tarquini will start alongside the gap. Front row of the grid will be Bernani and Valente. There is Franz Engsler. His car is on the grid. As I said, in Oschersleben with hundreds of guests a few years ago. He was due to start race 2 on pole, where Mehdi Bernani starts now in the DHL pole sitter's position. And had a last lap contact with Norbert Mikelic. Front of the BMW was wrecked. They put a new radiator in as well as front bodywork in 15 minutes. Unbelievable drama. He went on to win the race. Thiago Monteiro will start behind the gap, then Sebastian Loeb. The first of the Citroens will be 6th on the grid. Norbert Mikelic, Ivan Muller, Quinhua Ma, and then Jose Maria Lopez rounding out the top 10. Top 10 from race 1's grid are reversed for race 2. From 11th on down, Coronel and perennially misfortunate Dusan Borkovic are 11th and 12th. Then Gianni Morbidelli with the repaired James Thompson, who's hoping to actually get some laps in this race weekend. Rob Huff and Mikhail Kozlowski start behind their Lada teammate. Then René Munich in his Chevrolet ahead of Franz Engsler, and Filippi in his Seat, De Souza's BMW, and James Thompson. Well, Thompson should be starting further up, of course, but presumably being out to Parc Fermé, he is down at the back of the grid, and I'm not sure whether Campos will have managed to get a wheel back on a corner back on William Locke's Seat. We may see him down at the back of the grid. The red berets being worn by Citroën Racing to celebrate the fact that they have won the World Touring Car Championship on their first attempt. They are manufacturers' champions for 2014, can no longer be caught, with 5 of our 24 races still to come, including this second start here in Shanghai. 5th place on the race 2 grid will be Thiago Monteiro, and the Castrol Honda Racing's teammate Gabriele Tarquini starts on row 2 in 4th position. Now, James, historically, Tarquini has been the best standing start exponent in a front-wheel drive car on the planet ever, but the last 2 race weekends, he's sort of struggled a bit. I wonder if they've updated their traction control and launch control, and he's not quite overcome its electronics yet.
Yeah, if they've had some power updates or different mods on the way the engine delivers its performance, maybe that could have a huge effect on what he knew before now doesn't apply.
No, he's going to have to relearn it, but he's very good at doing that. And in the days when we had standing starts with rear-drive BMWs, quite frequently he would outstart them with a front-wheel drive Seat or Honda or whatever. So having massive abilities at the start. There's the grid gap that should be filled by Tom Chilton's car by a few seconds. It didn't make it out of the pit lane before the red light came on at the end of the 15-minute repair time. And James, when we're talking about repair time, we said it's not just time to fix the car, you've got to fuel it and get it out of the pits as well, and that was the critical part. The car didn't run clean and they couldn't get it out even though it was ready to go.
Yeah, it's such a shame because they were so close, and after working so hard on it, it's always disappointing to end up at the end of the pit lane.
Well, he now will be fired up. He can start the race. He'll start behind everybody else as they go past the pit lane. The red light should come off and go green. Hugo Vallant will start, though, on the front row of the grid in his Chevrolet. Now, we had two first-time winners for the season last weekend in China. Tom Chilton won race 1. Rob Huff, of course, won the first ever World Touring Car encounter for Lada. And Hugo Vallant having the mirrors adjusted on his car. He feels he's going to need them. Well, whether he's first or second, he probably is. And as for Mehdi Banani, well, he's had podiums. He's been runner-up a couple of times. He's led races. In fact, did he not lead both times in Sonoma? But can he convert this pole into his first ever World Touring Car win? If he does, there will be floods of tears. Cars getting ready to head off for race 2 in Shanghai. Round 20 of 24 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Shadows lengthening, 4:15 local time. Mehdi Banani heads the field. We'll tune in with James Thompson to find out what he's up to on this formation lap. At the end of race 1's formation lap, he headed into the pit lane with broken suspension, so he will start from last place on the grid. What a great place for Tomo to be. Let's hear now from Captain Jack Sparrow.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all our Eurosport viewers from a very sunny Shanghai. Hope you enjoyed your Sunday. As you can see from all the cars are in front of us, it's not been the best of weekends so far for our Lada team, but the weekend's not over yet. We intend to go down fighting if we can. Hopefully we'll make a few places up in this race. Boys worked incredibly hard in between races, and we had a front subframe, which is basically what holds all the important parts of the car together. That broke, so it was a major job to repair it, and fantastic teamwork from the boys. So I need to make sure I do my bit and at least get it to the finish and put a smile on their face. So please sit back and enjoy the race, and thank you very much.
James Thompson on board the Lada Granta Sport. 4 more races for that car before it is pensioned off. New Lada Vesta coming next year, and with it they are definitely hoping to take another step further up and be regularly in a position to hunt for podium finishes. Well, that is never easy in this championship. Always say there's at least 15 drivers that could be on the podium in any race, but only 3 are. And when you get the reverse grid as well, you end up with perhaps some of the more likely cars further back. And that's what we've got here. Mehdi Banani leads the field. You saw Hugo Vallant's dad there with the shades on. He is second. Gabriele Tarquini alongside him. But there are the happy Moroccan Barmy Army. You think they're happy now. They're not going to breathe for the next 25 minutes. But if Banani pulls this win off, James Nash, it's going to go absolutely apoplectic in that garage.
It's going to go mad, yeah. He'll be concentrating on his start, though. We've seen the feature on that, and it's been very useful, but he'll be going around warming his clutch up. The heat in the clutch is very important, making sure all the dash settings are correct and getting that the launch process in his head fixated. One thing that I always used to do is roll up to the grid in first gear. I never like selecting neutral because you never know whether you've reselected first. So
yes, and you don't want to go too far and get second. And
you end up with an achy leg on the clutch, but I'd rather that than not pull away.
Yeah. So Banani comes to find his marks on the grid and must make sure that there are no mistakes here, starting in his grid box. 5th place, Chaga Montero. Long open gap because Tom Chilton, who should be 3rd on the grid, is waiting to start from pit road. Qinghua Ma starts a little further back, 9th on the grid. And as James Thompson rolls into the final grid spot, we are ready to go in Shanghai. Round 20 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. And lots of anticipation at Pro Team and at Campos Racing. They have a car each on the front row of the grid. On your right, Mehdi Benani, the pole sitter. On your left, Hugo Valence, the challenger. Tom Chilton not there in third. Thiago Monteiro goes quickly, and Gabriele Tarquini makes a great start. The Hondas are going to try and go around Hugo Valence, who wisely goes hard to the driver's right, but that's not going to help him. He may hold off the Citroens, but great starting from Tarquini and from Monteiro. It's a Honda 1-2-3. And Mehdi Benani, I'm afraid, will have a lot of company, but the longer that Valence can bunch them all up behind as he attacked again against Tarquini and Monteiro, the better for Benani. Mehdi, if you've got anything left now, go hell for leather and just rip the mirrors off. Don't look in the mirrors, just go, man, go, because this battle behind could give him the opportunity he needs.
Yeah, he's got the perfect opportunity, clear track, nobody right behind him and pressuring him, and he's got to get his head down, like you say, take those mirrors away.
Well, good start for Sebastian Loeb and for Ivan Muller. Muller made a good getaway. Lopez has got away well. Mar got dropped down the order. He's 10th behind Coronel. Right at the back of the queue, you can see Tom Chilton. And that means that James Thompson's made up 4 or 5 places already. There's Tomo. He's got in front of René Munich as well, so he's in fact up to 15th place. So Benani's gone, and then it's Tarquini, Monteiro, Valente, the yellow highlights, then Loeb and Muller, the 2 grey and red Citroens, then Mikulec, you see him pulling out of the slipstream because he's defending against Lopez, and further back Mar trying to make a move. Mehdi, avoid looking in the mirrors, go now while you can, because the battle for the other podium positions is going to be all arms and elbows, and it really is going to be pushing and shoving. Look at the Citroens wheel to wheel. Valence and beg your pardon, Loeb and Muller. Loeb's on the inside of Muller, and Muller sees some danger and has to give up trying to pass Valence to shut the door on Loeb, because he wants to make sure there's more cars between him and Lopez if he can. Benani leads by 2.1, but Tarquini and Monteiro are clear of the chasing pack. Lopez squeezes in front of Mikulec and holds on to 7th, but Norby in that black and red Zengo Honda is pushing hard on the Argentine. Lopez only just hung on there. He had to get very aggressive into that corner. Shallow line in means he was slow out, and so that means he can't shake off Mikulec yet.
No, and we'll probably see Mar doing the same thing. It's quite nice to see how Mar's racecraft will be, because we've seen he's got the pace, so it'd be nice to see him coming through this grid.
Yeah, he's right behind Norby right now, on board with Qinghua Ma. Last lap round, Ma set the fastest, I beg your pardon, Norby set the fastest second sector time in that queue, so he was getting a good toe off the Citroens. But Benani is doing what he has to do. Fastest lap on race 1, fastest first sector on lap 2. So he has just got to fly, and James, he knows what the pressure is, doesn't he? He knows that eventually they will come, but we knew that last weekend when Tom Coronel was leading, we knew that when Rob Huff was leading, and actually we saw that in Beijing, certainly, if you've got a big enough gap, you could stay away. The problem now is the 2 Hondas behind will work with each other, and I'm afraid if they get to him, they'll take no prisoners.
Yeah, they won't, but they're also not going to let these Citroens through very quickly. They're going to be wanting that 1-2-3 podium themselves.
Sorry, right in the middle there, just as you were looking at the other screen, Lopez got inside. Muller's got a right rear puncture. Lopez got by him, and he's right behind, and Muller, it's not a puncture. The suspension is broken, and he comes straight down into pit road, and he is out of the race. Whoa, and handles that with aplomb. But I wouldn't want to be hearing his team radio right now. Lopez had a lunch. Muller knew he was coming there, but he came late and deep. Was it Lopez or was it Loeb?
Loeb, it looks
Loeb's
like.
missing a left front wing. Maybe it wasn't Lopez, sorry. It was the number 9 car of Loeb. It was Sebastian Loeb who hit Muller.
Lopez comes out smelling of roses.
Oh, my Lord, here we go. Muller's on the outside of Valente, and Loeb turns inside him, and Muller's already trying to get the cutback under Valente, doesn't expect Loeb to be there. Loeb's locking up, trying to sees the danger, but he's got nowhere to go. The tyre stack on the inside, in fact, caused the accident because he couldn't cut in any tighter. Wow. You know, you never win a championship with luck, but you can't win one without luck, and that's possibly the major difference between Ivan and Jose Maria this year. If the bad luck has gone anywhere, the stuff has hit the fan in Ivan's office and not in Pechito's office.
Yeah, he's just kept his head down all the time, hasn't he? And it does fall in his favour. He's quick and he stays out of trouble.
Fastest race lap last time round for Gabriele Tarquini in second place. He's broken away from Montero. Montero's broken away from Valente. Valente has the damaged Loeb and Lopez behind, and Muller, what's to say? You know, it's just one of those. It is just one of those. Behind, Mar trying to get around Michelisz. Black number 5, Honda on the inside. Mar can't go the long way around there. Has to try the cutback, but again, that'll leave on the outside for the final corner, and there's no way around there. Lunge to the inside is going to result in a big accident.
And that was brave.
Stewards. Yeah, that wouldn't have been brave, would it? That would have been reckless and suicidal. Mehdi Benani leads for Honda. Gabriele Tarquini second for Honda. Thiago Montero third for Honda. Fourth is still Hugo Valente in his Chevrolet. Then Loeb in fifth, Lopez in sixth. How Loeb can keep the speed up with the left front wing missing means that the splitter and that front wheel arch wing section are completely separate, because he's clearly still got grip, even though the car looks like it's not quite working the way it ought to. On board with Qinghua Ma. Where's he going to find a way through here? He's just got to keep the pressure on him and make Norby make a mistake looking in his mirrors.
Doesn't happen very often with Norby.
He's good on defence, he's good on attack. He's a very experienced young man now. Ma still struggling to find a way by. This is the battle for 7th place. Race 20 of the World Touring Car Championship in China. Norbert Michelisz from Qinghua Ma. As they come out of turn 13 onto the back straight. Ma in the slipstream. Not going to be close enough, I don't think, to have a big lunge. Mehdi Benani leads. Then Tarquini, then Montero. Well, Michelisz looking to the inside. Lopez has got by Loeb. And Lopez now looking to get by Valente. And that will put Jose Maria Lopez up into 4th place and in sight of a race 2 podium. Ma did not get by Michelisz that time, and in fact lost a lot of ground. Might come under attack from Tom Coronel. Coronel's teammate Tom Chilton, incidentally, up to 15th from the pit lane. Valente still holding off the Chevys. The Citroens. Going back here in his Chevy. Lopez got by Loeb. And that, James, that was sort of always going to happen sooner or later, because Loeb's car won't be handling the way that it ought to, but Lopez's clearly is, because it's not damaged and isn't losing front end. Yeah,
I didn't see that happen. It just appeared on the back straight that was in front.
Oh, and Rob Huff in the barriers. And that is somewhere in the ziggy-zaggy bits, turn 2 and 3, 4, somewhere there, I think. So we might see yellow flags out. We are in sector 1.
Could be exit 3, maybe.
Yeah. I wonder if there was contact there. Oh, Tarquini slowed. Montero's gone by for second. What's happened to Gabriele Tarquini? Lopez goes through for Valente. No, doesn't quite make it. Lopez all over the back of the yellow and white Chevrolet this time. Look at the traction. He's got the advantage through corner 13, and that leaves Valente with nowhere to go. And is he going to get Tarquini? He is. Gabriele's got trouble. Has he lost an intercooler hose or something? The car is just slow down the straight. Tarquini is out. So this is now for 3rd. Lopez versus Valente. And Loeb could get in on the action. Lopez being very bold. He sat there, James, and he's got the inside line. Come on, come on, come on. You've got to break before me.
Yeah, he did, and he held out. He was picking up on all the dirt on the inside, but we saw him move further away as well down the back straight. That's because the air buffeting off the Chevrolet would have given him less smooth air feed through the car and taken speed away from him.
So Lopez up to 3rd. And Tarquini heading into the pit lane. Valente, Loeb, the black car, Michelisz, and then Ma. So this is now 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. On board in 7th place with Queen Hua Ma. No overtaking through this sector. Yeah, there is Rob Huff. It is the outside of the turn from 2 to 3. Didn't see whether there was contact. Can't remember who he was battling with or where he was.
He doesn't normally put himself in the barrier.
No, that won't have been an unforced error, that's for certain. Valant and Loeb kicking up the dirt on the inside as Tarquini heads into the pit lane. So Muller and Tarquini, 2 former champions in pit road. Huff, another former champion, out of the race. Bernani, let's look at the lead at the front. 4.2 seconds ahead of Montero. I'm saying absolutely nothing. Okay, yellow flags are back in Sector 1, so corners 2, 3 and 4. And there's sort of almost potential overtaking opportunities. There's James Thompson. Thompson is just in front of Chilton. So that's the battle for 10th and a point for Tom Chilton. Bernani to Montero, 4.2. Montero to Lopez, 4.4. So there is a gap that needs to come down in the next 8 laps. Lopez needs to catch him by half a second a lap and more to do that. And Valant cuts back on the inside. Loeb sent it early, but sent it in too shallow and couldn't turn tight enough to hold on, James.
Yeah, Valant knows that trick. He'd had that one covered.
Let's look at Lopez. Last time round, 152.9. Leader last time round, 152.6. And Montero, 152.6. So Lopez, 0.3 of a second slower on the last lap. Loeb's car doesn't like turning right, does it? Not at all keen. Very wishy-washy in that corner. He turned in and turned in again and turned in a 3rd time, and it still wasn't having it. And that's why he can't get by Valant to make it stick. That's why he can't mistake Mikulits and Ma behind. I sense that Loeb may not finish in 5th place, although he's just set personal best lap. Franz Engsler leading TC1 in 14th. Ahead of John Philippi in his Seat in 2nd place. And this little queue of cars, is Cornell getting any closer? What's his last lap? A 53.9, they're doing 54s. Yes, he is. Incident between cars 1 and 9. Well, that's not a surprise. Muller and Loeb, that incident. And I'm afraid they're going to put that down pretty much as a mistake by Loeb. Whether it's a mistake that should be penalised or not, I don't know. I think he may end up with a grid spot penalty. Or they may do that old thing where they say, well, you'll have to go back and talk to your teammates about it, and that'll be punishment enough. Which I think is bollocks. Loeb down the inside of Valant. This time a better job, and this time doesn't overrun the corner, but Ma does, trying to negotiate his way around Norby. And here's the chance for Chilton. Ma's on the inside, Chilton for Coronel rather, in the other Royale car. Ma keeps his nose inside. He was just alongside enough to stay in 7th. But Coronel now has a bit of a sniff of the barmaid's apron, so here he will come attacking.
Chilton's not too far from Coronel, actually.
And Borkovic is safe now, because Tom's already lost the GoPro, so he can't shed another one.
He's got plenty, though. He's got lots of them.
But they're all in positions, aren't they? So I don't think Alvin will have moved anything. The Royale Motorsport cars not having the best of weekends here. They had a good weekend last time out. First win of the season with Tom Chilton. As we watch the battles behind, Mehdi Bernani still leading at mid-distance here. We're on lap 8 of 14. Bernani leads by 4.1 in his Honda from Thiago Montero's Honda. Norbert Mikulits goes inside Hugo Valant. And Valant very slow there. Now he recovers a little, but it looks that's almost like he's kind of found a box full of neutrals there with a manual gear shift, but you can't really do that with a flappy paddle box. He was just all at 6s and 7s.
Maybe it just didn't go down to the gear he needed.
That's entirely possible. Watch the way that the Honda dives under braking, and then, well, I was going to say, and the Citroen doesn't, but you saw Lopez did there. Replay of this little move. It'll be up the inside. I did wonder for a moment where there might have been a broken left front corner there. But Mikulec gets by. The boss is happy with that. Norby up to 5th. So the best of the Chevys is Hugo Vallant. He's in 6th place now. He's got Qinghua Ma behind. Ma seems to have had a variety of different cars in front of him, but hasn't got by that many of them, I'm afraid. Started in 9th, he's still in 7th with yet another different tail end to chase. I was rather hoping that Ma might end up on the podium again in race 2, but I think progress has been a lot harder to come by, certainly than many of us were expecting for the Citroens here in Shanghai.
Yeah, it's very different starting from the front and having the pace and reversing that grid and pushing your way through the field.
But after Argentina, thought, you know, Beijing, okay, very different, very, very tight and twisty circuit, barely ever up to 4th gear and certainly never out of 4th gear and higher up the box. Did think, though, that on the straights they'd just come storming by here. Anybody breathing on the Pro Team pit wall? Not much.
We saw him for the first time then.
Yeah. I don't think they want anybody to show. I think they just want to just quietly sit there, very quietly, waiting for the checkered flag and hoping and holding their breath, just the same way that the Lada boys did in race 2 last week, just the same way that Roal Motorsport did in race 1 last week, and just wait. Don't mention anything, don't say anything, and then we'll just wait for it all to happen.
He's got it under control. He did lose some time last lap.
Bernardi, Montero, Lopez now, fastest personal lap, but still not as quick as they were going early in the race, and that shows that the tyres are going away on this Shanghai circuit. Oh, Coronel having a look at the back of Borkovic rather. Bernardi giving away half a second or so, not in 3/10 maybe to Thiago Montero last lap. He must keep the pressure on, he must keep the focus up. Qinghua Ma has dropped way off the back of Norby. All that hassling, of course, from Ma has cost him his tyres. He has got by Hugo Vallant on that lap. We didn't see it, but he's now up to 6th, but he's a long way behind Mikulec. Once Mikulec was freed, he's been able to go. Chilton versus Borkovic. 2 Chevys, and again you can see how stiff these cars are, James, and they're turning in a corner and they've just got the brake applied. The wheel is up in the air and doesn't start rolling again until the wheel touches down again.
Yeah, that helps rotation. It's better to have 3 wheels when you're in the corner than 4 wheels on the ground, and he's setting up nicely there.
Very deep there, really under pressure from Chilton, and overcooked it completely into 8 and 9. And that was where he had contact with Huffy last race.
Did he hit anything through there?
No, he didn't. He just got in so deep, he had to get right off the throttle because the tyre stack was coming front and centre at the radiator grille, and you don't want to hit those. So Chilton moves up. He is now in 9th place. That's good progress. Shows what speed he did have last weekend. There's your top 3. That is your podium, potentially. Projected drivers' points, that's another 0 for Ivan Muller. Jose Maria Lopez has had 0s in qualifying, but not in races. 1-0 so far this season for Lopez. Drive-through penalty for car 10 avoiding causing a collision. Gianni Morbidelli. Well, we didn't see that.
Rob Huff.
Aha, good call, yes. Well, Huff certainly had contact with somebody. All right, so they managed to assess that, even though we didn't see it on live pictures, but they haven't managed to assess what happens with Muller and Loeb.
Yes.
Okay, maybe that's their next thing.
No
see
comment.
The board at the top there. The drive-through penalty has been assessed for Gianni Morbidelli, which is slightly irrelevant as he's out the back of his group in 12th. Last lap, a 1:55.1 for Morbidelli. I don't know what pace he hasn't got.
This has been a good drive back for Tom. He came out the pits with cold tyres and everything, and it takes a good lap to catch the field back up.
Yep. So he's done a really sterling job, really fired up. And you know, it's like he's in video game mode now, isn't he? Where actually his car seems to be quicker than everything else. It isn't, potentially, of course, or even really. Morbidelli comes in immediately to serve his penalty. Even before he passes the board, the team will have told him on the radio, come in now, he might as well, it's not going to make much difference. Chilton attacking Vallon. Don't forget, Vallon started second, Chilton started in the pit lane, and they've come together in a battle for 8th position.
They did a good job on setting it up as well, because it doesn't look too bad.
It doesn't look too bad, not at all.
For a new corner.
And that's a very valid point. Given how long it took to get it on and get the tyre on, of course they were trying to adjust it as well, but yeah, that's a very well-made point. It might feel a little ugly turning left or turning right, but I don't think Tom's going to allow that to stop him now. He's homing in on Hugo Valence down the straight. Where do we get the Hoover effect? Somewhere here as you get into 6th gear. And when Valence hits the brakes, is Chilton going to shoot out? He is. Having a look down the inside, squirrely under braking. Not too late. Valence just manages to get himself in front. Hangs on to 8th place. Coronel in 7th in front. Borkovic behind. This is the bulk of the Chevys. Chevrolet battles behind the leaders. Chevrolets looked strong last weekend in Beijing, but they've gained 40 kilos of success ballast this weekend, so the updates have definitely helped with pace, but they've gained them a bit of weight as well. That carbon roof that Tom Chilton was told not to jump on last weekend is part of the weight saving here. Mehdi Benani still leads on lap 12 of 14 here in Beijing. The gap is down from 4.2 to 2.5 seconds. Thiago Montero is closing. Jose Maria Lopez 3.1 seconds further back. That is 1, 2, 3. And the gap between the top three has come down from over 8 to just a smidge under 6 seconds. Benani has got to hold on for a lap and a half more. I can't imagine what he's thinking at the moment. My hope is that he is just cool, calm and collected and ignoring the mirrors, and that nobody's talking to him on the radio. Not a word, not a dicky. His main worry will be, where am I going to catch that BMW? And Tom, James, when you're coming down the straight there, you're looking at the car in front and you're trying to judge his pace. What's he thinking? Where do you reckon he's going to catch him? Somewhere on the pit straight?
Yeah, you just want to start highlighting it to the marshals as well by flashing your lights. Try and get the blue flags out early so he can also recognise that you're coming up behind as well. So you just start to try and highlight to everybody around you that you're coming. Perfect.
There you are. Felipe de Sousa moves out of the way. Very gentlemanly driving. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Flashing the headlights a lot. You think of that when you're sort of up behind him, but sending the message early is a very valid point. Jose Maria Lopez, see the way the Citroen was drifting in the corner there? Not got a lot of tyre left under that car, has he?
Nope, he's not, but he's still producing some good times.
Again, that lap was his personal best in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Now that's Sebastian Loeb rather in 4th place, so Lopez still quick, 1:53.2. Leader did a 1:53.2. Montero in 2nd did a 1:53.6. Maybe Montero just held up a fraction in turn 1 and 2 by the BMW coming back on in front of him. But de Sousa's got out of the way of the lead trio. Benani a little safer now. Lap 13 of 14. I don't know about Benani. When you're in that bubble, James, when you're in the little zone of your car, presumably it's the guys on the pit wall that are absolutely frantic with nerves at the moment.
Yeah, there's a point in this race, maybe a couple of laps ago, where he'd have looked in his mirror and thought, I can actually win this. It's there. And he just needs to relax and keep focused. He's doing a great job. He's matching everybody else's sectors. As long as he doesn't see that gap narrow anymore, he won't get panicked.
Well, I don't think Montero's got much to show. If anything, Montero might have to worry about Lopez. Chilton still all over Valence. This is the battle for 8th place. There's Sebastian Loeb in 4th. Robert Mikulits and Quinhua Ma 5th and 6th. Tom Coronel on his own in 7th. And his teammate Tom Chilton trying to work her way around Hugo Valence, and Valence outbrakes himself, gets in too deep under braking. Did he run onto some debris there? Or is that a legacy maybe of a little bit of something earlier on. I think he just got onto the rubbish on the exit of the corner, got in too deep, and through went Chilton up to 8th place. Don't forget, Chilton started in the pit lane. Vallon started on the front row of the grid.
This has given Thompson a good opportunity.
Yeah, Tomo behind Borkovic and Vallon.
Last lap lunge.
Last lap of the race. Tomo in 11th place at the moment. If he could get in and even get 1 point for the team at Lada, who have replaced the front subframe, he'll be very pleased here. Vallon in too deep, and yes, just outruns the corner. He's on the grey stuff there.
Yeah.
Never coming back, is it?
Yeah, a slight lock up, maybe a downshift too soon. It's locked the front axle up, and you can't do anything about it.
And that's the pressure of trying to defend after he's been battling so hard with everybody. And run out of tyres. Last lap of the race, Mehdi Benani leads from Thiago Montero and Jose Maria Lopez. Still don't know exactly what happened to Gabriele Tarquini's car. My feeling potentially is that it might have been something like a turbo hose or an intercooler hose blew off because he just sort of lost speed and parked it immediately. Otherwise, we would be looking at the first Honda 1-2-3 of the season. Mehdi Benani, 2 corners away. They are starting to believe and starting to smile on the Pro Team pit wall. This is going to be another one of those epic World Touring Car Championship stories we had on last weekend in Beijing, with Rob Huff winning for Lada. Huinghua Ma won't get by Norbert Mikelic. It is a first ever, a historic win for Mehdi Benani, the first ever Moroccan driver to win an FIA World Championship standard event. And Benani, after leading previously, after finishing on the podiums and saying this is good as a win to me, has won his first ever World Touring Car win. It's the first win of the season for Honda. It is the first win ever for the Pro Team. James Thompson rushes Dusan Borkovic to the line, doesn't get past the serve. And there is Mehdi's dad. He's a former rally driver. His mum's a rally driver and a racer. They are a motorsporting family. And Zoltan Zengo knows what that feels like for a small family outfit to take their first win. He goes to offer his congratulations. And so too does Andrea Adamo, the man who designed these cars, sees the first win for Honda go to a customer. And again, it's tough for the Honda team, but it's great when you're trying to sell cars to customers. It's like when Porsche got beaten, when the factory Porsches got beaten by customers, it showed that the game was an even one when you're paying your money. And Mehdi Benani wins his first ever World Touring Car race. I know that Peter Huff will have been beside himself with excitement watching Rob win last weekend in Beijing, the first win for Lada ever, and now the first win this season for Honda goes to Mehdi Benani.
Just wish he'd pick up some rubber, make sure he's going to pass scrutineering with all this.
It's going to be a stony-hearted individual who denies him the chance. There's Huffy offering congratulations, multilingual congratulations to Mehdi's dad. Well, this is one of those wins that nobody's going to feel bad about, isn't it? You know, it's like when Zanardi won, when Norby won for the first time, Engstler's win, you know, one of those feel-good stories that everybody has a boost. You know, this guy's a very quietly spoken individual. I don't think he's got an enemy on the planet, certainly not in the touring car paddock. And he, last year, really came of age in this championship, really started knocking on the door, leading races. Okay, you know, race 2, pole, reverse grid and all of that, but you've still got to win the race, and you've got to win the race against some of the best drivers on the planet. And finally, he's managed to fulfill that promise. I don't know if this is a day he ever thought would come. I have to say, last year I was pretty convinced it would sooner or later. Now, chance to stand on the top step of the podium. Got to say, I have no idea what the Moroccan national anthem sounds like. We're going to find out. At least I hope they've got a copy here in Shanghai.
Is he stuck?
No, he's just shaking. If he was not crying on the slow-down lap, then there's something wrong with the man. Look at him. You can see his cheeks are wet already. What an emotional day for Pro Team and for Mehdi Banani. Well, if there was a party with and for the Lada boys last Sunday, there will be a party with and for the Moroccan Barmy Army this Sunday. And let's not forget Jose Maria Lopez, 15 points closer to being a world champion. And Banani, that was the face I've been waiting 2 years to see. From being a new boy, from being a hopeful, from being the hope of Morocco. The first time we went to Marrakesh, we met this guy. From being the sportsman of the year in Morocco, being one of their biggest sporting stars. Now this is a fantastic international win for him. And Thiago Monteiro on the podium in second place, a Honda 1-2. Andre Adamo delighted with that. Disappointment, I'm sure, for Gabriele Tarquini. Tom, it could have easily been a 1-2-3. I'm not sure that Lopez would have caught them at all. Tom, sorry, James. Why am I calling you Tom? Too many Toms in this championship. Well, let's hear from Mehdi Banani, see if he can summon up a few words for us.
It's Mehdi Banani's first win in World Touring Cars, and also for 2014, Honda's first win. It must be a great feeling.
It was very great. It was something like, please don't wake me up if I am dreaming. You know, I have won a race in WTCC, in the World Championship. It's something wonderful for me. Thanks for everybody to trust on me. Thanks a lot for the King of Morocco who trust on me and put me here around the best driver on the world.
Mehdi, now, it was only a 14-lap race, but it must have felt like a long, long time, huh?
Yes, it's tough. It's tough because we need to be 100% from the beginning until the end. I do. It's wonderful.
Congratulations.
There's a man who might be struggling to make it onto the podium, and that's what happens when the adrenaline goes, James Nash. Suddenly, the enormity of the whole thing, he's not allowed himself to believe it, has he? Not even to dare think about it. Stop it, Banani. Just concentrate, Mehdi. Just think, just think. Next gear change, next braking point. That's what it's all about.
The realisation. What a nice feeling.
Yeah.
They don't happen enough.
Well, you know, if they did, if they came too often, then they wouldn't have this momentous feeling, would they? I mean, what a thing for him. You know, last year he was on the podium, wasn't he, in second place in Sonoma. He started race 2 on pole, as he had the year before, led the race as he had the year before, and eventually, don't remember now who ran him down and beat him. I'm guessing it was probably Ivan, but he got past in the end, and he said, for me, this is like a win. Well, it wasn't. Not now that he's had the win. Polo mints, that'll do.
A bit of sugar.
That's the motor racing equivalent of a magic sponge. Well, it's warm, it's humid, but it's not the physical fatigue, it's the mental strain of, as he said, trying to replicate his qualifying pace to try and stay away. Wow. 2 weekends in China and 2 very dramatic race weekends indeed. We've had 3 first-time winners this season. A first ever win for Lada, first ever win for Morocco, a first win this season for Honda, and another big step forward for Jose Maria Lopez as the hopes of Ivan Muller of being the world champion have ended. all but effectively. Whatever the knock-on effect for Sebastian Loeb and Ivan Muller's contact, certainly Jose Maria Lopez again had the luck of the green. He came in third place and extends his championship advantage. And we wait now for nearly a month until we rejoin in Suzuka in Japan. Till then, thanks to James Nash and thanks to you for joining us. Goodbye from Shanghai.